Now, top story on World DNA. In a significant development, Russia says it is open to negotiations on an end to the Ukraine war if initiated by the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump.
Well, Moscow's ambassador to the UN in Geneva has said that any talks need to be based on the realities of Russian advances. The remarks come in the wake of indications of a shift in Ukraine's stand as well. Officials have said that Kiev's stance ahead may hinge not so much on territorial boundaries now as assurances and guarantees to make a ceasefire hold. Here's more.
We are open and we are ready to cut it.
For months on end, Volodymyr Zelensky has reiterated that any peace settlement that amounts to ceding territory to Russia is not acceptable. That could be on the verge of changing. Quoting from the chairman of the Defense and Intelligence Committee of the Ukrainian Parliament, talks should be based on guarantees for Ukraine. Nothing is more important. Another senior Ukrainian official said the territorial question is extremely important, but it is still the second question. The first question is security guarantees. What's led to the change of heart? Well, most obviously, realities, both on the ground and geopolitically. In the war zone, Ukraine faces big losses on the Eastern Front and in Kursk region of Russia. A bigger one perhaps though is US President-elect Donald Trump pushing for a quote-unquote accelerated timetable of negotiations. Trump has indicated he may soon appoint a special envoy to lead negotiations on ending the war. Plans have pointed at freezing the front lines along the current war zone, establishing a demilitarized zone and implementing a 20-year moratorium on Ukraine's NATO membership that Russia has demanded. As a justification for agreeing to any settlement, Kyiv has said it would not formally renounce any claim over territory under Russian occupation. Ukraine is skeptical of ceasefires after Russia violated them in 2014 and 2015. It seeks to ensure that any new one is foolproof. But support for ceding territory now in exchange for peace is rising among Ukrainians. Analysts say securing a favorable settlement for Ukraine while Russia is advancing would be extremely difficult. Russian negotiators would be unlikely to settle only for territory their army has already taken. One report said if the Ukrainians are driven from Kursk, Russia could accept a ceasefire along the front line by next spring. Territory set aside, security guarantees turn supreme. How realistic is that? Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
For more on this, we are now being joined by John Erith from Washington, D.C. Erith is a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation and former member of the U.S. delegation to NATO. Welcome to World DNA, Mr. Erith.
Thank you.
Now, Ukrainian president had earlier said that surrendering territory is out of question. Now, the officials in Kiev are saying that that question is, it's rather come to a second point. It appears to be shifting towards security guarantees. First up, your assessment of the shifting stance in Kiev.
I don't think there is very much shifting of the stance in Kiev. Certainly, the Ukrainian position officially is still that they want to regain all of the territory as a condition for peace. They don't want the Russians to occupy more territory. This was tried in 2014, and it failed very badly from the Ukrainian point of view. So why they would accept something like this again, it's absurd.
Right. Now, this is the chairman of the Ukrainian Parliament's Defense and Intelligence Committee, Roman Kostenko, who has said this, that the territorial question is extremely important, but the first question is security guarantees. What do you think is the security guarantees that he's talking about?
It would likely be NATO membership as a way to get the Article 5 guarantee in place so that an attack on Ukraine would be an attack on all of NATO. This is not likely to happen in the short term. either on the Ukrainian side or the NATO side. Ukraine is not prepared for NATO membership at this point. So this is extremely unlikely.
Ms. Arith, you say that security guarantees could be a NATO membership, but Trump, according to reports, according to Trump's Ukraine peace plan, he has clearly said that Ukraine should rather forget being a part of NATO, and Trump's Ukraine peace plan, according to reports, says that a 20-year moratorium on Ukraine's NATO membership. How do you see that as a sticking point in any kind of a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia?
I haven't seen that there is anything resembling a peace plan coming from the incoming Trump administration. The 20-year moratorium on NATO membership is more a piece of Russian propaganda. Russia is doing what they always do in a negotiation. They set their maximum demands as the price to begin the negotiation, so that the other side has already given them everything they want when the negotiation starts. So this is obviously a trap that the Russians are setting for President-elect Trump. If he gives them what they want and goes into a negotiation with Russia already getting everything, then he looks like a fool. If he says, no, you cannot have everything you want, then the Russians say, then no negotiation, and he looks ineffective. So either way, he loses.
Right, but if Trump has guaranteed that he's going to end this in one day, the Ukraine war, what kind of suggestions do you think would be coming from Trump?
He said that he can end it in one day. So this would depend on both sides adopting a constructive approach to actually working out a peace deal and overcoming the territorial question. Russia absolutely wants to hold on to the territory that it has seized through its aggression against Ukraine. Ukraine absolutely wants that territory back. This is what has stood in the way of a peace deal thus far, and it would still be a major obstacle.
Absolutely.
So I think...
Go on, of course.
So I think that President Trump is saying that if both sides are prepared to adopt a constructive approach, it is possible to reach an agreement relatively quickly, but that's a big if.
Right, interesting. Thank you so much, On Earth, for joining us and giving your perspective.
You're welcome.